Okay.
Hi, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Let's take a quick roll call, please. When I see your name, just say yes. Here. Jen?
Here.
Amelia?
Here.
Marlene?
Here.
Carrie?
Here.
Keith?
Here.
Cynthia? Here. And Tina is here. We don't have notes because there was a mix-up with Greg.
Yeah, it looked like he had the new
Minutes,
things
sorry.
and then he went into doing,
He used
Yeah.
half of my minutes from the month.
yeah, so he
before.
probably was following that and you know how it can happen when you, so but he has his twin 3-year-old's birthday today. So
Yeah. There's the statement if you want to pass it out.
If you could just take a look at it.
Oh, sure. thank you.
So, well, once I get those from him, I'll send them to you guys for edits. Okay. We do have somebody for public comment tonight. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
So,
We have another visitor?
this is my best friend Jenica.
I met some of you over the past few years.
Yeah, she doesn't have a name tag, sorry.
Yeah, she's just hanging out.
Well, and we have Mary Ann here too.
Yes, thank you, Marianne.
I'm the
Select
known
board.
one being. Well, I'll prank us all.
She really does. So, Zanat, do you want to talk about why you're here joining us tonight?
Should I come? closer?
Yeah, whatever you want to do. So public comment typically is 10 minutes.
Okay.
And we are here to, it's not a discussion period.
Okay,
We take in what you're saying, and then if we feel like there's discussion that is needed in the future, then that's something that we put on a future agenda. Yeah,
Okay.
but let's.
hi, hello everyone, good evening. Nice to see you all again. I feel like I saw you guys at the select board Zoom last night, so I feel like I've been.
And then yesterday.
And then I've been hanging out with you all week. My name is
Zina.
Zinat, for those of you who don't know me. I am a Needham resident now for almost 11 years, on my second home in Needham, and 2 kids, and we're a Muslim family. I'm also a lead organizer for Needham Muslim Neighbors, which was informally created about 8 or 9 years ago. And now we've, I think you all have engaged with NMN in some capacity in the last year or so. We've begun doing a lot more outreach, so hopefully you've heard of us. I'm here today because I had a lawn sign stolen. And I think a few weeks ago, you had other people also come and talk about their lawn signs. My lawn sign, I can show you share a picture of it, but basically it's a black background and says very clearly on it, "Let Gaza live," hashtag ceasefire now, call your local representative today, and has a QR code that if you go to it, takes you to a link tree where you can find out who your local representative is, and you can send like a pre-created template by email or text, etc. So that was my sign. I've been distributing these signs all over Boston for the last several months. And I had one in my window probably since February. I had it in my window because I was afraid of backlash and I didn't know what a message like that in Needham displayed so prominently would bring. I live on a street that has a lot of blue ribbons and a lot of "We Stand with Israel" signs. And given that this conflict has created very strong polarized opinions, and given how few Muslims there are in this town, I didn't feel very safe being able to display our family's political convictions, honestly, our humanitarian convictions at this point, openly. I've distributed about 200 or so signs, of which probably 7 have been in Needham. People in Needham are afraid to put out any kind of messaging that shows that they stand with the Palestinian people or that they have anything to say about this nuanced and complicated situation other than "We Stand with Israel." And so I had that sign up in my window for maybe about 2 months. And then some incidents happened on the Needham Facebook page that made me finally lose my temper and say I'm done being scared and put that back out on my front lawn. What happened on the Facebook page was, and I'll keep this very brief because I only have 10 minutes, but some teens were fundraising to help them get through college by offering yard work and lawn services and such things. and they're going to university in Israel. And they said that they were going to be using portions of the funds to be donated to the Friends of the IDF. Our community and those of us who saw the post were horrified by the fact that people would fund an organization that is on trial at the ICC for acts of genocide. And frankly, for any foreign entity in that way, a foreign government occupying force seemed inappropriate for the Needham Facebook page, and indeed violates actually the Needham Facebook page's own rules that we shall not fundraise for anything that's not a 501(c) nonprofit US-based organization. So a fellow community member of mine posted a couple of links with no commentary other than just the links, and the links were directing them to Vox and other articles related to how mass graves had just been unearthed that were created by the IOF in Palestine just that week, and that this was all brewing. No commentary, just the links. I think he also hit the report button on the post. And I believe the Needham Facebook group's rules, which I don't think he knew at the time, is that if anyone hits the report button, they will immediately be deleted or banned from the group. And I'm not sure why that exists. I'm sure the moderators have enough things going on in their lives. But his comment was deleted and he was automatically removed from the group. I guess then he went and looked around, he's like, oh, okay, they're violating a rule, I'm violating a rule, yet I'm the one being removed from the group. They're violating a rule about the fundraising, but I'm being removed. So he messaged one of the moderators and said, I just want to let you know that this has happened, and it's not really, the fundraising shouldn't really be happening, and it's inappropriate. It's I think he also spoke about it personally in the sense of like it's offensive and wrong, and I would really appreciate you reconsidering. And initially he had been removed and banned, I think, for 48 hours from the group. The moderator received his response, did not reply, and upped his ban to a month with no reply. So it was like, basically, we are silencing you. We have no interest in hearing what you have to say. There's no debate, discussion, no friendly phone call or text about, let's chat about this. Okay, was there a misunderstanding? What, nothing, just summarily removed. At that point, I kind of lost my temper and I was like, okay, if they won't let me say it on Facebook, I'm going to say what I have to say on my own front lawn. And so, and we didn't even, by the way, my community member didn't even say anything other than point to data of independent news sites. So I put my sign out on the lawn. Probably this was in April, I would have to say. It's not been a very long time. And after I put the sign out, well, nothing happened for a long time. In fact, a lot of people would walk by our house and wave and say, love your sign. People would ring our doorbell and say, you're so brave to put out this sign. I completely agree with you. It's impossible for us to speak openly about this stuff in Needham. We wish we were as brave as you. And I offered our sign to anyone who came and no one would take it. As I said, I'm the purveyor, I'm the creator of the sign. So I have a whole carton full of them. And I said, would you like a sign? And they're like, no. One couple like kind of like said, you really should take a sign, because they were like political science majors and teachers, and they were really like agreeing with me. I'm like, do you want a sign? They were like, no. I'm like, just take one. And she's like, you know what? I'm going on a walk. I'm going to leave one on your porch. I'll pick it up on my way back, because we're walking right now. And they never came back. So people are really afraid to speak up. The national polling will show you that the majority of this country favors a ceasefire. I suspect that those numbers hold true in Needham, just as they hold true demographically across the country. It is a nuanced issue. It's an emotionally polarizing and triggering issue. But my concern is that people aren't even allowed to speak up and say what they want to say. I have very little hope of being able to convince someone who holds an opposing view, and a very strong opposing view, of changing their minds. But I shouldn't have to remain silenced from my perspective just because you don't like it. And that is the vibe in Needham that we're very, very concerned about. When the sign was stolen, we had security cameras on, but it was dark, so it was black and white and a bit grainy. But we did see that a young man stepped out of an SUV. I would say he's probably between 18 and 30, wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, walked up to my house, plucked up my sign, just walked back, gave it to somebody, a friend of his in the car, who was also male, and said something to the effect of, they've got cameras, they probably saw you, which we did. We turned the footage into the police. I think it's one of their few pieces of actual evidence of this lawn sign theft. We haven't really heard back on if they're able to get anything out of it. But we're hopeful somebody will be at least held to account. Not so much as to restore the sign. I've put 5 signs out already. They took my one, I put 5 out, no problem. Like I said, I've got a carton full of them. And I put them right in front of my cameras. And my lights stay on now. But that's kind of what I was doing for about 48 hours after they were stolen, was going back and rewatching the videos again and again. I became kind of obsessed with keeping the lights on, with checking outside, with opening the door and just checking what's happening outside. And before I would let my kids just sort of like do chalk on the front driveway, walk around, play, whatever. Now I'm just like, no, I'm gonna be with you. So they've stolen something off my property this time. They know where I live. Next time they could spray paint my home. They could hurt my family. They could do something more, I don't know. So I live with this very strong sense of anxiety and fear, all of which, again, I am able to swallow and just keep to myself and make no one's business. If I didn't feel that there were so many other people around me who feel the same way and feel similarly censored and censured from not being able to say what they want to say. And that is a real problem in Needham. We cannot say what we want to say. It's a free speech issue. And I think a lot of times people are conflating this with a religious problem, with being anti-Semitic, Islamophobic. Unfortunately, those are the only terms available to us right now. We don't have a lot of words in our public discourse. My perspective is that it's an anti-Zionist position, which is a political position, and doesn't have to be conflated with anti-Semitism. And I think if people are unhappy with the situation or my sign, I don't think they're necessarily Islamophobic either. They may be. They may think that all Muslims deserve to die. I highly doubt it. I think they just think in this particular context, the killing of innocent civilians is justified. So I think we need to find better words, and I think we need to respect each other's property. I think we need to respect the First Amendment, and we shouldn't steal. Like, just don't do petty theft. After this incident happened, I shared it with the HRC on the website. Thank you for letting me share here. I emailed the town manager, Katie and Kate, as well, because we had recently spoken about a similar topic, and they forwarded my email onto the select board. So I believe the select board was also made aware of kind of what the incident was. I happened to speak with Reverend Katie over at First Parish. They also had an incident I think they came last time. So I asked her for some advice on how to navigate when I tell the police, how do we make sure it's just, is it advice? I've never made a police report in my life. This was my first time making a police report. And obviously I told the police as well. I held off on putting it on the Facebook page because I didn't know what to expect other than vitriol. And I kind of didn't see the point until 48 hours after my signs were stolen. Another woman put up a post saying her 2 I Stand With Israel signs were stolen. And she was, in her post, understandably emotional. And there was a flood of supportive messaging for her. And she was talking about going to the police and getting more signs, all the things that I was very able to identify with those emotions. And I felt like, you know what, I think it's important that people know that this is a pattern, like more stuff's happening. So I put up a post on the Facebook page that had 3 or 4 sentences simply that said, 2 days ago, my launch sign was stolen. I had camera footage. I returned it to the police. Let's do better, Needham. Like, let's not steal. That's about it. And the floodgates opened. There was all this information about, well, why do you support Hamas? And they're committing all these murders and send us back the hostages and all sorts of thoughts that were nothing to do with my sign, nothing to do with what I was posting. And the vitriol just came in. Interestingly, the moderator this time commented and said, I'm going to be removing any comments that are related to the content of the sign. And because this post is not about the content of the sign, this post is simply trying to make awareness about a theft. So if the community is aware. So the moderator removed all of the comments that were I'll call them Islamophobic, although I don't consider them Islamophobic, but that's the word we've got nowadays. Remove those comments, and also the comments that were like pushing back on them. All of it was removed. Interestingly enough, they did not remove similar comments about the content on the post that was about the Israeli signs, because those were all, oh my God, that's crazy. Oh my God, that's wrong. That's horrible. It happened to you. They were very supportive. So it was interesting that there's even a bias there, right? That if there's commentary about a sign that's supporting Gaza, that's all silenced. But any supportive commentary about a sign that's told it's Israeli, that's okay. And I emailed the moderator and I said, I see a disparity and a bias here. I would appreciate it if you would please remove those comments as well, because that's the only fair way to go. Additionally, there was a particular one woman who had been engaging even with the moderator on my post of like, well, you stand for this then. And she said, you don't know anything about my political beliefs. Please don't harass everybody. And then let's take this offline. And so the moderator allegedly must have talked to this person offline. But I discovered in my inbox the next day that that person sent me more harassing messages, direct messaging me, telling me that I was a terrorist and a terrorist supporter, and all sorts of things. And that all sorts of unpleasantness, to which I did not engage or respond, but I simply sent that to the moderator and said, can we please ban this person? Because this person is actually harassing me off of the group. And they went ahead and removed that person from the group. So I'm glad that action, I'm sorry that anyone ever has to be removed from any group, but that action was taken because that behavior is unacceptable. So all this to say that the drama continues. I was very encouraged to see over 50 people like my post on Facebook, but it was hard to tell if they were liking the idea of let's do better, or if they were liking my political sentiments. I considered messaging all of them and saying, hey, you want to sign? Because that's me. My friend encouraged me not to bother because the chances that someone would actually put up a sign are very low anyway. And if they wanted one, they would have asked for one. In fact, two people did. One person actually did come and pick one up. So after all that kerfuffle, I was able to get one more sign out and meet them. So that's my ROI on my incident.
Can I, so with regards to, just because we have to move on to the next
Yeah.
item. I talked to Chief Schiller yesterday.
Yeah.
They're still reviewing the tape.
Okay.
And he's going to keep me posted on that. And then also with regards to the original posts regarding the IDF, that fundraiser.
Yeah.
I put that person in touch with one of the moderators.
Okay.
And they did have a conversation. And it ended up as we agreed to disagree. So,
But the post was not removed, even though it violates the rules.
yeah, they agreed to disagree is where it ended up. So I spoke with each one of them.
The moderators disagree with you, or they disagree with the poster?
The poster and the moderator did I was able to facilitate a conversation between them. And that there's still an impasse there, but at least there was a direct conversation with one of the moderators.
And I know you also put the community member who linked to the links, the Muslim community member, you put them in touch with the moderator as well.
Yeah.
And I believe that they had a conversation and it was pretty pointless, to be very honest. It was pretty pointless.
There was
no resolution of
there
any
was no
kind.
resolution.
The moderator was unable to accept that an error was made, or to understand. I'm assuming he understood the perspective and that it was a learning opportunity, but in the sense of any change being made as a result of someone saying conscientious objector, this is an issue, all the moderators seem to have heard various sides of it and have decided to keep the post up.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I did just want to let you know that there has been at least some sort of outreach there.
Yeah.
Um,
Baby steps, I suppose.
Yeah,
At least people are talking about it.
Yeah.
And having an opportunity to learn. But I hope you can understand that this isn't even a Muslim issue, because I believe that there are plenty of people who are Jewish, who share political perspectives with me, and we have plenty of people who are not of any faith, of every other faith, and this is and all sorts of positions in life, who are out there marching in the streets. in the hundreds of thousands and believe what I believe, but no one has the courage to put up a sign in Needham.
So, can I ask a question? So thank you for coming forward, and I'm sorry that you had to deal with this. And I do remember people, when Black Lives Matter signs were up, were stolen multiple times as well.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, what would you like us to do?
I think it's really important for us to, number one, make a very public statement that this type of behavior is unacceptable in Needham. It goes against our idea of what Needham stands for. It goes against the idea of our social norms. And that, not that there'll be like consequences in the sense that people, I mean, yes, there was theft, and if someone has evidence, it becomes a crime, whatever. But I mean, I think the idea is that if there's enough societal pressure that this stuff is someone's gonna like get really mad about this, people are gonna be up in arms about it, people might actually, it may be a deterrent. I think it's really important that we make that point that we are for free speech. These are complicated, thorny issues, but we are responsible Americans who are committed to upholding our freedoms. And that if somebody wishes to use their property to put up any sign they wish, they should be allowed to do that no matter how heinous it may seem to you, because that is literally the law. That is what we stand for. So I think it's, number one, really important for the select board, for the HRC, and for government entities to say, you know, this stuff doesn't happen here, stop it, number one. And number two, I think it's really important to facilitate a dialogue. And my thinking is, like I said earlier, I don't think it's meant to be we don't need to educate people on the issue. People either are educated and have made their choices, or are uneducated and choose to remain that way. I don't think Needham's job is to educate people. I think what it is in the service of trying to uphold these social norms, create dialogue around the symbols that we express ourselves and our opinions with, such as if I'm wearing a keffiyeh, or if someone has a "We Stand with Israel" sign, or if, God forbid, someone puts a swastika up somewhere, or someone, I don't particularly care about this, but if somebody like draws a picture of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? This is considered blasphemous. I think, frankly, people broke the law of proportion, in my opinion, because who cares what people are doing? But yes, you know, those types of symbols that are going to offend someone of a certain faith, or political opinion, or cultural stripe. We need to have an educated dialogue about what these symbols mean to us and to other people, so you understand and you can use those symbols responsibly. And also understand that this symbol offends me, but it means X to someone else. I'd like to learn what that means for you, and I'd like for you to know what it does to me. And then if you choose to display it, that's your choice, but you've decided to do that because even, you know, you don't ultimately think it's a high priority to care about my feelings, and that's perfectly fine, that's your choice. But at least you're informed, educated, and aware, right? People don't seem to realize that for me, a "We Stand with Israel" sign is just about as triggering, or like as it might be for a Jewish person to see a swastika. It is that triggering. It does send me to that much of a tizzy. I had one next door to my house. I had to see it every day. Every day I come in and out of my house, I see it every day. It really hurt. It really hurt. I was like, you stand with Israel, the country, the nation that is massacring, butchering people, dropping white phosphorus on children. The alleged number is only like 34, 35, 40,000 killed. That's because they don't count the people who are under the rubble or the bodies that cannot be identified. We're not even counting all of the other atrocities that are taking place in the West Bank where there is no Hamas. So if you want to get into the details of this, we can, but I don't think this is the place to do it. But my idea is that when you say something like "We Stand with Israel," that is such a definitive statement that it sounds nuanced, that it is deeply traumatizing. I live and breathe this stuff all day, every day. I grew up in the Middle East. This is my homeland. This is a spiritual, ancestral homeland for us. This is a problem. So I suspect people don't know that does that to me. I suspect people don't know that. And I'd like for them to know that. And then if they choose to keep putting that sign up, that's fine. But at least they know. So that's what I would like to see, is having a conversation about what these symbols mean. Because I feel like, especially particularly in this conflict, especially for people who are supporting Palestine, trying to tell us what our symbols mean for us. From the river to the sea means something to us. It has been turned into something else and said, no, this is what it means. You can't tell us what our symbols and our words mean, right? Our symbols and our words mean what they mean. You can choose to interpret them however you want to, if that's what you want to do, but that's not what they mean. So now I know that a family had stickers put on their fences that said things like that, Intifada and from the river to the sea. Intifada, by the way, is an Arabic word, simply means uprising. That's all it means, uprising or revolution. Should somebody have put that on someone's fence? No, vociferously, no. Because that is direct intimidation, however cowardly it is, because you can't actually have a conversation with them if you put stickers on their fence. That's a coward who's doing that to begin with, who doesn't even believe, who only wants to be a bully. This is a person who wants to be a bully, but doesn't have the guts to actually come up and like have a conversation with somebody, right? Because if you really believe in that, then you should be able to do that, and you can't, so you're a bully. So it's wrong to do that, it's wrong to bully people, right? Even if I believe that this shouldn't be happening over there, I also believe this shouldn't be happening over here. So all this to say that in terms of what can we do, I think it's really important, one, to make statements and not just, like, I'll be honest, like when the HRC made a statement back in October, I had no idea it even happened until way later when other things began happening. So we gotta make it like public. How do people find out about this? Like, no one knows these things happen. I don't know these things happen a lot of the times. And I'm generally a friendly, engaged citizen of Needham. So I think number one, making a statement that says this is like enough, stop it, not acceptable for anyone to do anything that bothers anybody. And we will not stand by it. This is not Needham's values. And number two, facilitate some kind of dialogue about symbols and what they mean to us so that people can be more informed about the choices they make about those symbols.
Which is a good segue into the statement from last night. So the last meeting that we had, we talked about putting together a statement, a joint statement between the HRC and select board. So Jen, Keith and I wrote that. We submitted it to the select board. And that's what this, and it went around, right? Because then you guys didn't get a chance to read it. So, and I don't have the last line from last night. I don't remember what the edit is.
The last sentence.
The last sentence. So I'm going to, did you guys get a chance to just peruse this? Okay, so this is the statement that came out of this when the select board and Kate went through their draft. The select board is aware of multiple incidents of anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, intolerance, and hate in Needham, and we feel compelled to specifically address these matters. These recent incidents reported to town staff, the Human Rights Committee, and the Needham Police Department include statements posted on private property, removal of lawn signs, silencing of opinions, and disruption of religious events, among others. The select board abhors this behavior. Acts that threaten or violate another person's safety or property cannot be tolerated. And then I don't know what there was an edit, but something along the lines of the select board is here to support the safety of Needham residents. I think that's,
And ensure that the community is welcoming for all residents or something
Yeah.
like that. We
and
are
we are one Needham, one community. So
I don't have the exact words either, but that was the gist.
that was the gist. So they voted on this. The edits were made last night during the meeting. They voted on this. This is the statement that the select board is going to release. I think that we sort of felt like it was a little light from our end. Because this seems a little bit stronger, stronger in wording. We're saying the Needham Select Board and the Needham Human Rights Committee emphatically declare that any acts of hate are not welcome in Needham. It also provides a little bit more context around why the statement is written. It asks a few questions for people to think about. For example, how do we as a community embrace all of our members to mitigate the impact of acts of hate? And then we go into sort of next steps. The town is working closely with community leaders to spread the message of gentle civility at this time that is fraught with difficulty and complexity. So the discussion I think we need to have is, because the goal was to release a joint statement. Do we want to, in unity with the select board, release the statement as well, or not.
Or
And that
release our own statement.
release our own statement that release our own statement, release our own statement. I feel like it's important, particularly at this time, to show unity with town leadership.
Mhm.
But I am also not sure that for people who have fear that are feeling violated, this is really going to carry any weight.
Not strong enough.
So let's discuss.
I think that we should unite with the select board statement and then add our things.
Right, so
Say, we're in accord with the select board, and as a human rights committee, we see blah, 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 and we're proposing these steps. So we're not so taking some of the things there and owning it as ours, uniting with their statement and then adding some of our things.
because we've already talked about things like creating safe space for dialogue, education and outreach.
Public statement.
We're collaborating with the Needham Resilience Network and the Interfaith Clergy Association to put together some really meaningful forums, events, dialogues. So all of those conversations have just really started. And I do think that it is important that we acknowledge that this is sort of the beginning of the campaign, right? Against really terrible behavior in our town. What else do you got? What are some other
What the
thoughts?
other people think, yeah.
I think it's also important to say that the select board didn't see that as the end either.
Right.
They also saw that it's, so there's
Yeah.
agreement on that.
I think it's really hard to get these statements, to find exactly the right thing that we want to say in a few paragraphs. It's almost impossible. And especially, trying to convey the support that's in this room and the support that we hear from so many Needhamites that won't stand for, private property to be stolen, intimidation, the infringement on free speech. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're trying to say in a couple paragraphs. I think no matter what we do, it's not going to be perfect. But I think I do agree that, that showing unity with the select board is goal one, right? Because we're saying it in the statement, we're all one Needham. And, they're trying to do their best, just like we're trying to do our best. But I think maybe something additional closer to what we put together there is also something we should probably get out as well. As the beginning of an effort to curtail these kind of incidents, which we keep hearing.
But I think we need some kind of I agree with supporting what the select board came out with and going further. But we need some kind of a segue to that. So that it doesn't look like it's standing alone, that it's just a further clarification or, going the next step, that we need to say something that doesn't say it like that. So, I don't know exactly how we would do that, but, and it is a problem so who sees these statements, right? There are some people who are, involved citizens and they would be aware of these things. But what about the rest of the community, which is where I probably think most of the issues are happening?
Yeah.
People who are, not feeling that there's one Needham and are not. part
So
of it.
I will add that at the Interfaith Clergy Association luncheon yesterday, I think almost everybody was represented there, right? Was everybody pretty much there?
Well, not everybody.
The goal for them, when they found out that we were collaborating on the statement, was basically almost like what happened with Nuari. It was disseminated throughout all of the town committees, and everybody sort of had the opportunity to read it, to vote on it, and really to get behind it. They would like to do the same thing with this. And at least as a start, to distribute this amongst all of their within their congregations, yes. And maybe even, somebody had said, maybe even have a petition politicians sign off on it, so it feels like there's some action around it and you're really sort of taking it in and you're understanding, what you're reading and like basically what you're agreeing to, this pledge, right? So I do think that that is a start.
And they also, I think it was John Gage, Reverend Gage from the Congregational Church said, maybe we could have like a press conference. I don't know if that's ever been done in this town, but you could have some people from the clergy, some select board members, some human rights, NRNs, from a variety of groups. So it's not the same thing as doing a walk or having a vigil. It would be controlled, but it would be representatives of different parts of the community. Maybe you could get somebody from the Exchange Club or the VFWs, sort of like representatives of different voices in Needham saying, this is what's been happening is not who we are. We need to change, and these are the things that we need to do.
Mary Ann, did I understand accurately that the select board finalized the statement? This is the final
Knowing
draft.
that you were voting tonight, we finalized a statement last night so that you could decide if you
I
wanted
see.
to jointly participate it with the select board, so it's not been sent out, none of that's happened.
Mhm.
Waiting until we understood what you wanted to do tonight.
Mhm.
I'm not sure exactly what the method would be. My recollection with the last statement you made, which was at the time of the swatting at the temple, was that did go out. It was posted to social, and I think it did go out on the Notify Me system to people in
It did,
town
yeah.
who have signed up for
That
that.
was like around November 11th.
That was around middle of November, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one that in public comment, a person said that he thought the select board should unendorse that.
Disavow itself.
Disavow, okay, I wasn't sure what the word.
Disavow itself in the Human Rights Committee.
My perspective
paying
is,
attention.
is that a statement should be sent out now, soon. I mean, this is, we can't wait any longer. And disseminating that statement in a newsletter or in a website is not enough. I'm just wondering if it's too bold to send something to every resident in the community. Hometown Weekly, I don't know, however,
Not
put
Hometown
something, no, I don't mean in the newspaper, but I mean a separate statement that probably would not enhance its importance, but somehow send a message that each resident gets and becomes aware of. And then we build on that. And I like the idea of reaching out and gathering information from all these incredible groups in town. I mean, there are quite a few groups that are working on this.
Yes.
The faith groups, Needham Diversity Initiative. I mean, there are just so many groups.
Don't we have a reverse 911? Do we have something if there's an emergency in town?
Yeah, like somebody's lost or
But I
something.
mean, I think that's what you're asking for. Some towns actually do that. They would send out this. I don't know. I don't think Needham would do
Well,
that.
not,
So
well,
then
not
that
as an
goes also-
emergency.
That's just like the
Here, you're only
newsletter,
supposed to use those in the,
In
like,
emergency.
literally, you have to push a button that says, yes, this is an emergency, as
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
process of queuing up those
Yeah,
messages.
so that's the only way I could even think that it could get to every
Well-
resident. How else would it get? I mean, how many
Well,
people?
if we mailed it
Right.
and I opened that letter and read it, I would, if I knew nothing about what was going on in town, I would think carefully about what I read.
Yeah, well, Nuwari, I think, sent out a postcard when they had the first, the Cops in Community workshop. I think that went to every household.
The
That's
housing, work did go
Yeah.
twice with postcards.
Yeah.
I just wonder how effective that is, and if people just toss it, don't look at it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's an interesting idea, but.
What about the 4th of July,
Yeah, somebody at the clergy said, what about the 4th of July? You've
like
been
maybe
talking
that, because
about
I
this.
haven't, it's been a really long time since we've been in Needham for the 4th, but isn't there like a festival
Yeah,
fair kind of thing? that
yeah, well,
goes on?
there's the parade, but
Parade.
then there's
Yeah.
the
That's on the
fireworks and the
4th,
whole thing
that's
up
the
on.
3rd, right?
Yes, I'm the Exchange Club, yes.
Well, so
Somebody
you knew
did that.
somebody at the Exchange Club.
Fireworks, yeah. on the 3rd, and then we do the parade on the 4th.
That's, you can't really do anything there. I mean, it's so noisy. It's not.
There's, well, is there,
And there are a lot of people from outside of Needham there. A lot of people
We
come.
get,
It's a
yeah.
really big thing.
Huge crowd.
Well, they need to behave as well, Marlene.
That's right. And that's a disability. is
So we're
good for everybody.
brainstorming.
They're celebrating it, you
Nah.
might as well.
We're
talk to them.
Brainstorming, you put out ideas and maybe another one will,
Come out.
Come
yeah.
Are there, do they make any, so
They don't really make announcements there, except that
I thought that there were like tables set up, like where I remember taking the kids to get like food and stuff. Is that?
oh, yeah.
yeah, there's
Flea market
Well, the
thing, that doesn't exist
No.
anymore, but there
No.
is food still. right,
Yeah, well, so the
on
Exchange Club,
July 4th.
yeah, sells food items, and we have, you know, we have a fence that we put up, the advertisers, the people, because it's all funded through donations that the Exchange Club collects. So we have like lots of advertisements, things like that, but,
Maybe we could like print this on vinyl, and put it up on the fence with advertisements, the statement or something.
certainly think that could be
We could
something we
talk to
could talk to
people.
the
That's kind of a
people
cool
running the
idea.
4th, yeah,
I wonder if
absolutely.
you could have
With
people like,
Hillary, who figured out how to print the art on vinyl, I don't, they
Yeah.
got some.
have people sign it.
like the pledge part that we keep kind of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they did in Natick. They had that online, they had it various
I was
ways.
gonna say, you can QR code to a Google Doc. and
Of course
people
you
can- I mean, that would be easy.
Of course you do.
It'd be great if you
That
could
would be
Sharpie,
nice.
make
Doing a
it a bigger
Sharpie, yeah.
poster and people just sign it there as like a website.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a great
But
idea.
even if you got the like the kind of the, you know, community leaders in these organizations to sign up like a pledge initially and have them be the start, and then a QR code encouraging people to also sign,
I think it's a great idea.
that would at least be some kind of action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't, like we're saying, it, you know, we do get a ton of people from outside of Needham, but I guess
They can
that's
behave when
not,
they're
yeah,
in
right,
there.
exactly, I
Yeah,
guess that's what we keep seeing with these incidents, too, we, you know, we default to think that there are people from Needham, but there could be people driving through Needham too, right? So
It
I
could be going
suppose it's
town to
all,
town.
yeah, exactly.
First though, don't we need to take a vote if we want to support this select board's,
We do, but I just wanted to confirm that you were all on board
so we,
before, if there were any other comments or questions about it before we took the vote.
Yeah, because it sounds like we're into the implementation.
yeah, we're
which
into
is right, that
the
we
next
need
step,
to.
yeah.
There's no more revisions.
Yeah, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Okay,
And when they read it out, I thought it sounded good with the last sentence.
okay,
I move that we sign on and accept the statement passed by the select board on June 11th,
mhm.
2024.
I need a second.
Second. And that's essentially that we will be, that it will be jointly from us and then,
Right, somebody doing minutes tonight?
Well, yeah, we'll figure
it's in the air.
Okay. And we're voting.
Oh, I was like, am I doing the minutes?
Either that or.
Shoot,
be
I've
the
been
chair.
so. Yes.
Amelia,
Yes.
Marlene,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Cynthia.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, so unanimous. We are
Okay, Mary Ann.
supporting this statement. We're gonna be releasing that jointly with the select board.
And they've got
Um,
all the way of doing the publicity. So.
So we could, yeah, so we need to talk about what, especially since it's coming up and we're not meeting again.
Yeah, July 4th, really soon.
Do you think it's possible to have something? I've never been to one of the 4th of July, so I don't know what that landscape is.
So first of all, it's on the 3rd of July.
Right.
The fireworks is the 3rd of July, and the parade was the 4th.
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
I mean, though I love to be able to be a decision maker for these kind of things, I know that the Exchange Club is very, they hold the 3rd and the 4th. And the way they celebrate
Yes,
that,
very holy.
very close to their hearts. And so I wouldn't want to even guess. I like the idea, and I think that that's something that we could at least, you know, if we come up with something viable that we can put together by then, at least we can present the option. But I do know that.
How influential are you?
I'm afraid to find out. I don't like to ask those questions, but
I joined Keith in that.
that's right.
I can also
Yes,
ask.
exactly. I mean, I think I've been in the Exchange Club for 6 or 7 years, which sounds like not a short amount of time, but we have members who have been for 30 and 40 and 50.
Right.
And so,
You're a rookie.
yes, I'm still new to it all. That's, I remind them all the time.
Rookie.
Yeah, well. So the president is, it's actually, we just changed from Matt Borelli to Rick Lunetta.
Oh, it's not Matt Burley.
That's correct. Yeah, he's
Okay.
the outgoing president. And I think they just switched
Oh, Rick is
roles.
great.
Rick is fantastic. Yeah, he's a wonderful person. He's, I'm sure would be sympathetic and, empathetic
But you
with.
don't have another meeting before. the-
There may be, I mean, there's certainly ways that I can certainly, pass a message on and try to see if there's any room to have something like this up there. I just don't want to make any,
Promise.
Oh,
yes,
boy.
exactly.
Yeah, but they're not like, they don't have to call a meeting the way we do. They're not part of the town. They're separate.
No, that's right,
It's
yes,
much
exactly.
easier.
Absolutely,
Well,
yes,
they have
yeah.
their structures. I know.
Of-
I've been
of
to
course.
theirs
I think,
before.
I think if we were gonna do that, then the best thing to do would be to come up with, like, okay, we'll have a picture of the Needham insignia and a pledge from these community leaders that will sign, nice and big, and then a QR code that leads people to, if we have something to
Bring
put
to the
together,
table.
yeah, right, exactly, then at least they can make a decision, and I mean, like I said, I also want to just mention, I don't think them being against this is in any way being against what the message we're trying to convey, but I do know that they're very particular about, keeping up with traditions and things like that, so I don't know if it's.
Totally.
So Keith, when we were at the clergy meeting yesterday, so with Reverend John Gage, the conversation kind of like went splintered off on the side. And so he was sort of coming up with the idea of doing something like a vigil almost, but I'm thinking about doing it around that timing, but also knowing that the third and the fourth are holy days.
Right. Yeah,
But, what we were discussing in that little subgroup was sort of the idea that the select board, and now HRC in conjunction, released the statement, in the plethora of ways that it's done. And then Nika wanted to also sign on, NRN wanted to sign on. And so then there was the idea, okay, should we then, so is this pledge, is this statement gonna go out the way it is? Or would there be shopping around for other sponsors, if you will, at this stage, or would that just be later on?
Pretty well,
Right, so it's gonna go out as is,
as soon as
Okay.
possible.
and then we will send it to
Other groups?
other groups
And then would it be re-released with everyone's names attached?
within the organization. I mean, I think it'll be, I'm imagining it'll be re-released within
The organization?
the organizations
For
themselves.
them to
Yeah.
distribute, right? So there was a conversation of that, okay, we'll get like a statement or two, with all the parties involved. And then transition into an event. And the event could either be like Cynthia said, a press conference where all of the signatories kind of meet with, I guess, the Needham Observer, maybe we invite the Globe, I don't know. We could see what we want to do, and have that, and or have more of a public event where actually it's kind of like the select board, a member of the select board reads out the proclamation, if you will, and then HRC can create, maybe what you have in there is like a statement from the HRC, not necessarily as a proclamation, but like a speech that's given of kind of like what we think and what we believe. Each of the clergy could come in and speak about it. I really thought John Gage was very moving yesterday. He was talking about just the idea of love thy neighbor,
Yeah,
and drawing from scripture. Each of the different faith groups have that same core, right, of what you do as part of the community. And for them to reinforce that, to have someone speak maybe from the Muslim group, people who have had actually these things happen to them, either share their stories or, as Reverend Gage was saying, actually have a person who's unaffiliated with the story. So for example, the story that happened with our sign or like, as a Muslim, right? But it was something that was read by him, right? Because his point is that I too am a Needhamite. I too, in some ways, I am also Zena. I am also, we are one and the same. So this story, and it can be more impactful that way when it's him as a reverend, a male, telling my story, right? So having sort of that storytelling happening, and then it culminates with like an actual physical action, like a pledge, right? Either people go and sign something, it's a big vinyl thing, they hand out Sharpies, people are signing it, it's publicly visible in Needham. And it's like something you can come and do, there's a QR code, you can send it digitally online too if you want to, you don't wanna do it in person. And maybe there are even like buttons or stickers or yard signs, dare I say, that say like One Needham, or like, you know, we've talked about hate has no home here, but the idea being that, what can we say that says like, we are okay with anyone wanting to say anything, it's okay with us, right? Free speech, we believe in free speech. Something as simple as that might be fine as well, but like, and then it's kind of like as a takeaway, so the idea of the visual was kind of like percolating with him, and I think he could probably check off all of these boxes. But timing is a question. I think glomming it onto the holy days of the third and the fourth might be tricky. But I think July could be fine, because Josh Levy and I were all sensitive to the fact that even though it's summer, people are still here, and I think if you push this off, like, oh, let's do it in the fall, we've missed the boat.
You're totally.
Yeah, there's a momentum right now of these incidents happening in May and June. To push a reaction past July would seem too late.
What did Josh end up doing after he told us? Did he make a decision what he wanted to do?
You mean the idea of the parade, I didn't hear anything.
There was no talk.
There was
discussion.
no more discussion about.
No, because I do also believe that Beth Pines told him,
Well, Nicole had a strong statement.
yeah, Nicole and Beth talked to him about how they didn't think it was gonna meet objectives, and they were very concerned about safety.
Yeah, we were too.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, we have a lot of other things to decide, but how we can, because this sort of planning thing has a lot of good ideas to it, but it's gonna take some work for people.
Do
to
we,
make
do we
that
know
happen.
what NRN is planning?
Well, NRN is going to have a meeting sometime next week. So it's not there was the first cohort that met for 2 years, and then several months later, there was the first meeting of the follow-up group that was supposed to be ready to do rapid response, but it has not ever done that yet. And Nicole and Beth are carrying along with representing things in a fine way, but I don't know. We're part of that group, but
So we're meeting next week, and I think they're taking on more of the dialogue piece. So that's planning further down the road, and whatever that looks like, whether it's, you know, what do words and symbols mean? Nicole had mentioned something to me about using social media responsibly. How do you be an upstander if you feel like you see something that, or hear something that doesn't sit right with you? How do you engage with somebody in a situation like that? So really taking it, again, not focusing on the religious or political aspect of this, but sort of the bad behavior that's happening around it as a result. We're not trying to sway minds on what side of the fence you're on.
I was just thinking, are they a more nimble organization
No.
to be able to plan things than we are?
no.
That's
We're both
disappointing.
Having spoken.
Well, they're not gonna do
inside.
anything till the fall anyway.
Yeah. So,
We're it.
yeah,
NDI
lightning
was all
speed.
involved with raising the
Yeah, nothing moves faster than town government, so I have total confidence that we can pull this out in 3 weeks. Is that what we get?
Amazing. Okay, so I think that sort of talking about planning that, and then obviously reaching out to groups, and I like the idea, you know, groups that we don't necessarily engage with all the time, like the VFW, like, even if it's not with, for the celebration, the Exchange Club.
Yeah, absolutely.
But VFW and Exchange Club have done things together, so.
That's true,
You
yeah.
kind of go out through one group to another.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then is this leaning into like the One Needham thing that we were thinking of, Tina, right? That we've talked about the last couple meetings at least. Cause I think I always think about when I became a new parent, they told us to stop telling the kids what you don't want them to do and tell them what you do want them to do. Which is very hard for us because we were told not to do everything. But, you know, saying like, instead of leaning on the negative side, we lean towards the positive. But we're all trying to get across that we should all feel safe in our community to express ourselves and, you know, feel safe enough to go outside and have the kids go outside and not have to worry at least from people in the town, passerbys, would be outside of our reach, but, doing something one Needham does sound like steps,
Yeah.
progressive steps of what we're talking about.
Do you think that, I know you can't speak for the entire board, but initial reaction to a public reading the statement publicly or gathering town leadership together publicly to, express this?
I think the board is open to possibilities of what the next steps look like,
Okay,
right? And I think it's our expectation that there will be dialogues or there will be something that we will be participating in.
okay. Okay. So we just have to figure out what that looks like. We need to figure out a date and we need to figure out who is gonna be involved.
I'm
Everybody's looking at
I'd like to, I'm thinking of my plate right now, and I'm happy to be supportive and tasked.
Who's gonna take the lead on that?
This is where you say July 3rd or the
Oh,
most.
well, that's right, thank you, Mary, to name a couple, yes. I think there's more, which I'm forgetting, which is very unfortunate for those groups, but,
Children.
yes, children, yes, that's right, Cynthia,
So
thank
when do
you.
you think the statements will
Summer.
then be released?
Today is Wednesday, right?
Mhm.
I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be released probably tomorrow. Friday's a good day for
Mhm.
releasing. I mean, my druthers would be if it doesn't get released tomorrow, I would say wait till next Tuesday or something, but,
Well, can't,
but we,
Darcy, also when the Needham Observer goes out, so can you maybe let them know, hang on?
but what about when the town communication goes out? What,
so the Needham Observer usually publishes
Oh,
on
Peter's on, I
Thursday.
see.
Peter's online,
Yeah.
yeah. Usually publishes on Thursday morning, so at this point, it's not in. I think Peter may have some discussion of it at the select board meeting, but I don't know if he has the statement. Maybe he has it as we were sitting here going, what are those final words?
but not everybody
No, the
gets
weekly
that.
town newsletter.
Yeah, the town newsletter, that's what I
Is it
was saying.
Tuesday or
The
Wednesday?
So the
The
news you
news
need,
you
I
need.
think came out this afternoon.
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
I think that also goes out on Thursdays.
It usually comes out on Thursday.
Then maybe it's due to come. For some reason, I thought I saw it today.
Yeah, I think it's
But
actually
I
tomorrow.
Maybe you got a
Yeah.
preview.
No. I could be wrong. Oh,
Yeah.
No, here's the Juneteenth. So today must have been about Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
It looks like, so not news. You need them today. I knew I had something.
So maybe, I don't know if it's too late to get it into that tomorrow. She's probably.
Yeah, so I don't know. So I sent the note tonight to all of them to say, yes, it got approved.
Mhm.
So,
And you sent it to Amy then, too.
I did not send it to Amy, but I can forward it to her.
'Cause I'm assuming she does the news.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could ask her to. put it in. That'd be great.
Okay, so then I can send this to all of the groups. I have them all,
But you don't have the,
You don't have the
One,
you don't
funds.
have the final
once
statement.
I have the statement.
Once you-
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that the clergy group was waiting for it and that they can start to use it.
Yeah,
right
you
away.
can send it as soon as
Okay.
you get the final wording.
So we'll
Did-
send it.
You don't have a file with that, Marion?
Of this statement?
Yeah,
No, I don't, because I was in the meeting with everybody else and I wasn't
Trying to-
described. Yeah,
Who would have it, Katie?
would Kate Fitzpatrick have it?
Kate has it.
So we can send that off. I'll send that off to everybody. We need to figure out though, what is that next step? What do we want to do?
Well, not the thing on the third,
I think that is a potential, but I think also
we need to be,
That can't be the major.
that can't be
thing.
the thing.
no,
Yeah.
right, okay.
We need a thing. So if we,
NRN said they wanted to take the lead in planning the thing,
Right,
FYI.
but are they, we would like to plan the thing sooner rather than later.
and we
Yeah,
need
they'll be
some,
meeting about it next week. Starting thinking next week, they're moving next week.
So do you want to plan a thing?
And we're talking about an event team.
like a press
Or
conference.
just
thing.
some
Like a
kind
press-
of,
Yeah, even just a press conference or
Start with that.
something, right?
Yeah, Why don't we start with that?
Statement, it may not be
To
on the
release the
visual,
statement.
but it starts.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean-
the visual is in this particular situation, John has done a fabulous job at bringing things together, that it's not just a religious one, but he helps to make it such that people are heard and respected and not fighting with each other. But that's gonna take a lot more thinking of how to do it that will be safe. But the press conference where you have just selected people, representatives of different groups together in a room with either cable or some other group.
Has to be more than cable.
Right. Okay, but
That's not gonna do it.
but the idea. No, the idea of a press conference is that you have
Okay,
people in a
funny story
room and
about
not
that, but-
standing outside at the town hall, which I think would be another level.
Right.
But if we go step by step. Whoever knows Channel 5, you know, and the globe.
Well, 2 people on Channel 5 have kids in the schools, right? Oh, that's Channel 4.
But we need somebody to organize.
Do we have a PR function? Like a PR function as part of.
Well,
the
we could ask Amy to help.
Mhm.
At least she would have contacts,
She
right?
might have some ideas.
Or I'll email Amy.
But you need some
Email
people
Amy.
from this group too.
So I added Amy to the email I sent previously, so she.
Let me email her first and see what she, get her thoughts on it. See what she thinks.
Ask Amy, that sounds like the name of the.
Amy has good instincts about.
She does. Okay, then maybe we'll, yeah.
I mean, I think it should be done sooner rather than later, but I also know that summer is a terrible time, so we're like between a rock and a hard place.
But I think, so we're just sort of thinking somebody, a press conference, that's sort of along the lines of what we're thinking right
At the
now,
very least.
at the very least,
Yeah.
right?
There's getting it out through the usual town and media things, but to have physical presence of people from different groups coming together around it.
I think Reverend Katie takes the summer off.
Yep,
Yeah,
we've
she's
got
on-
John,
she's
we've got
next-
John Gage, we've
she's
got
next week,
Sandra
she's going next
Bonnekamp.
week.
Yeah, we've got lots of people who aren't away for the summer.
What if you did like a video montage of like different, somebody from like multiple groups making a statement or a pledge or something like that, that we could piece together and send out? Like, I'm wondering, you all know, I'm not a social media person, but like, if that's something, the kind of thing that we could put out there for all the kids.
You know, what's a good model is the Interfaith Clergy Association does that, is it one of the religious holidays?
Well, no, they did the Trans Day of Remembrance.
No, there's another one though.
Well, when it was COVID and all, we did a video for the community Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving,
service Instead of
was,
in
yeah.
person.
Yeah, and that was,
And
I
we,
thought that was
instead
well
of
done.
doing a vigil in the fall, when this group was doing a statement, did a recorded vigil. And it didn't come out till December, so a lot of people, there's so much going on in December, missed it, but it's fantastic. if
Well, they
you
did
ever
a
get to see
wonderful
it.
job.
It was very good.
Did you ever get to see that?
I eventually got it because it wasn't distributed in any way that anyone ever came into contact. I had to like get someone to send it to me.
Because it came out of a religious group, I think some people might have been.
Yeah, and I
Reluctant
think
to.
that's kind of the trick, is kind of like Nika's sphere of influence is just the congregations, and our representative specifically to the Muslims is, we're not a congregation, a formal congregation, and our representative is a very, very busy OBGYN surgeon
Yeah,
who doesn't always remember to forward things. Bless her,
Yeah,
works very
so-
hard.
we'll get you on the list along with it.
But, so I think, that, you know, we didn't get to see it for a while. I personally didn't get the point of it too much. It felt a little strange to me, but, because I felt like that's the kind of thing you want to do in person, and the video really felt kind of like not creating the vibe that I would have liked to have, like a community vibe. Some speakers spoke longer than others, some did take political stances. About 5 minutes into it, I couldn't watch any more of it, so it was a very, very long video too. So it's almost like it was kind of like talking to yourselves. So I feel within the Nika world, it was probably pretty like resonated because you know the people, you know the communities, but if you're outside of the Nika world, it felt kind of like I didn't really know what to do with that video.
So
Right? It's not like I went to an event, like made some connections and spoke to the community and like felt really like we were all coming together in any way. So it was a little strange, just as an outsider.
but that's a good point about the limitations of videos.
Yeah,
It's also a lot of work to put together. I mean, you have to really be savvy, right?
I mean, I
it's,
do-
it's easier than it used to be, but yeah.
Everybody's
Maybe-
looking. at
Well,
that.
it could be something that we do, it doesn't have to necessarily be, I mean, we can take our time with it, obviously, the League of Women Voters did a great one for the election, was it the League of Women Voters? Did you guys see that one on Facebook?
I think, I'm sure I did, I just don't
Yeah.
remember it.
Just about how, you know, you're representing me, or I'm.
Right.
Yeah. it was
Well, I think a
fantastic.
lot of that, I mean, I think the way to try to do it, where you don't have like a whole group trying to do it, is if you
Oh.
just equip people with like,
You mean to get out the vote? Okay, that's Cece. She does it for the League of Women Voters and my husband does the voice. So,
It was great, it was great.
so she does it all the time and yeah, Jerry's almost always the voice unless she does it.
but is there some way to come, like, it, like, I mean, 'cause these all are great ideas, the problem is that we're like, this is our last meeting before the summer, and, but I'm thinking like, if you came up with a one Needham campaign pledge, like, 1 or 2 sentences, and then just ask people to video themselves saying it,
yeah.
and then sending it to us, then at least, you know, if you get 10 or 20, 15-second clips, I mean, that's at least something like feasible we could do over the next few weeks, I suppose. You know, if we came up with the right thing, the right pledge, it'd have to be short and sweet. And still somehow tick all these boxes that we're trying to tick. And then ask people, can you say this pledge into your phone? And send it to us.
That's key.
I just
It's not coming. Not coming my way.
It's not a great idea, though. If you don't want to do that, look at it.
I just to kind of riff on that,
Yes,
to kind of make sure that everything just sounds exactly the same, like why would anyone watch that?
yeah,
And like write a pledge, but then there's a fill in the blank
yes,
portion.
yeah,
of it
yeah, yeah,
somehow,
I hear you
so
saying
that
that, yeah,
everyone's customizing it, it's
Right.
unique to them.
yeah,
So
right,
you're actually
exactly,
listening to watch it.
right, yeah, give a little area for people to put their own little,
Spin.
Okay.
yeah, or maybe at least even some kind of introduction with who they are.
So Tina, do you want a subcommittee to work on this? Or do we need to have another meeting? I mean, just because we don't meet in the summer.
I think we have, yeah, but I think that can come after, we'll send it out, let's work on the press conference, and then in the meantime, we can try to figure out some supporting things that sort of, you were talking about the bridge to fall. So we can do a couple of things in the summertime that are gonna get us to, and at that point, we should have a better idea from Needham Resilience Network and Interfaith Clergy, what these dialogues are gonna look like in the fall. Does that make sense?
It does.
Are we on board with that?
So who's gonna go forward from here with like the press conference?
I'm gonna email Amy and I'm gonna have her help me with that.
Terrific.
Yeah, because I may not be able to be on this. That's long.
Are we gonna do any?
We never get to that on the agenda, but I guess it doesn't count.
Please, I can give you guys a parting gift, a press conference.
Tina out.
Who decides that other than
I'm
you?
working on it very hard and I'm working with.
Please do.
Figuring out how I can get around the bylaw.
There's no way to glom onto like this, we don't wanna, like, if we did something at the beginning of a select board meeting, like as a public comment, if you got all the stuff that we're talking about in order ahead of time. And I'm just trying to think of like how, well, I guess you're gonna talk to Amy and get some
I'm gonna talk to
better
Amy.
ideas, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. And then in the meantime, yes, NRN's meeting next week, and I think I sent you guys a recap from the Interfaith Clergy luncheon.
Yeah.
That we had yesterday.
Mhm.
Yeah, didn't I send it to everybody?
I didn't,
Oh, recap that you wrote about
No, that Reverend Scudero sent.
I
out.
didn't, I don't
Really?
think I got it.
Maybe it was just you guys. I'll send it out to everybody.
Yeah.
that she sent out?
just because she was saying I'm gonna be out, this is kind of a recap of what we talked about.
Oh, yeah,
I think
we
we
didn't-
should sort
I
of
didn't
next
get it.
steps,
But who
You
did
got
she
it.
send it to?
all of us.
Yeah, I think you sent it just to us because we're on the subcommittee for
Yeah,
this
So
statement.
I'll
Yeah.
send, so that you guys have an idea of what we're thinking
I would
about.
love to see it. I'm part of it, so I don't know why.
Okay.
Oh, she was sending it to you because you were there.
Yeah,
Yeah, but why she didn't send it to the rest of the group? Okay,
okay,
did send it to me.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what she said.
I will. Okay, so we're good on that.
We solved that problem.
Everybody remember to come to the suitcase stories and sign up and get your tickets. Needham Community Council website.
You guys
I'm
want
not
to go?
giving it away because you can get it online and it
I wish I
costs
could
too
go.
much
I
to
can't go.
print.
Do you want to do a quick recap on Race Amity Day? I thought it was great.
It was, weather was wonderful at the beginning. We had some new people, we have fewer people than last year.
I thought it was about the same, but
But there were a lot of new people. I was at the welcoming desk, so in fact, there were people coming to go along the Amity path, and we just invited them in.
They said,
Before
"Food,
you used to
let's
go
go."
up the steps, there's food and the music was
They
wonderful.
were great.
It's just a very relaxing, inviting place to be. I mean, talk about sense of community. It's just a very relaxed environment. The weather was fine, but just the whole setup. And members of NDI try to mingle with people. I think the one thing that is really missing though is the interaction. People come and they talk to the people they know, but they're not talking to new people. And Raman and I went to a workshop for Race Amity Day like 6 or 7 years ago, the original Race Amity Day kind of celebration, and people sat down at a table and ate together. And that really, that was a wonderful, and they mixed, people were mixed. I don't remember how it was structured, but I think we need to think about ways to get more of that interaction of people, not just, hi, how are you? I'm from Dedham, or I'm, whatever, but to actually sit down. The one table though, where people do interact is the table that has an activity for children and families.
Mhm.
This year they were planting sunflower seeds to take back. Last year they made decorations. And that's a wonderful place, families talking to one another, but I think we're meeting, when are we meeting?
July 10th.
July 10th, to look back at and discuss the event, but it's just a wonderful event, and we want to keep hope to get more and more people.
The year we were at the Needham History Center, people were around tables and talking.
Human history.
Were you there?
Oh, yeah. But that still isn't what I thought. I mean, because there were people speaking, and we've gone away from that. It's all interactive now. The earlier Race Amity Days, you had a guest speaker that spoke for maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then you lost everyone. And then people just didn't, then they got their food and they went home. And I think we've come a long way.
Yeah.
I think it's much
Yeah, but
more
we need to have
spontaneous and
more
relaxed.
opportunities for interaction.
But I think we need to figure out ways to get people, and food is a wonderful way to bring people together. If anyone has any ideas, please let us know. We're already thinking about next year.
Okay, yeah, it was fun. I was glad to go. And it's surprising how many people had no idea that path was there. I ran into Oscar Mertz.
Really?
You didn't know?
You didn't know?
This is my first time.
You're planning? Yeah.
Oscar? I was like, yeah, I had no idea that this was here.
Mhm.
It's like, really?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked. Yeah, but there were a few people that I ran into that didn't know that the path was there. So,
Even before it was named that, I remember when
Yeah.
my kids were little, we went and got tadpoles there. So,
One thing I forgot, the model, I think a wonderful model is the Ramadan celebration, where all of the Muslim neighbors, Needham Muslim neighbors were assigned to different, that worked so well.
That was very impressive.
That was really well, but people were told, don't sit together with your friends, but please
Yeah.
spread out.
Yeah.
Not just.
We had to
I mean,
repeatedly
the
instruct
guests,
people, do not try and hang out with each other.
but that was the guests,
Yeah.
but also the hosts were just wonderful about sitting down and really having in-depth conversations. It was great, and there was food, also we shared food at the table, so that was something we should think about when we plan the
Going
next
forward.
event.
Yeah, no, great, thank you guys. Just a note on Pride Month, thank you to the select board for
Oh, yes.
the Pride Month proclamation.
Fantastic.
The displaying of the signs at the entrances to Town Hall and the Public Services Administration Building. And also thank you to NDI for the banners that are in display in Needham Center. Did you want to add anything else to that?
No, just that it's good to, maybe we can send a formal thank you, and also for the proclamation.
Yeah.
And things for Juneteenth. It was
So-
really great sitting there and hearing all
The
the things.
proclamation last night.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
the other one was the meeting before.
the event, do you know exactly what that Juneteenth event is going to
It's in the
involve?
morning.
The Juneteenth event is going to be next Wednesday morning at 9:30 on the town common, and it's got a series of speakers. Hang on, let me.
I guess I'll say. And aren't they reading the Emancipation?
Yeah, they're reading the
Proclamation?
Emancipation Proclamation, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I saw.
They are, and I think they're reading our statement.
Oh, oh,
Great.
Not this statement, the Juneteenth
Oh,
statement that we
right.
have.
Yeah.
All right,
Join your
here's
neighbors and
the-
local, state, and federal leaders for recitation of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Right,
remarks.
remarks and reflection.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it's supposed to be?
It's not supposed to be long. I mean, it depends on how long the speakers speak, right? Jake Close is coming. Representative Garlick will be there, so
Okay,
they'll each say something. So,
Okay, great.
it's great.
great.
We're very appreciative.
Report from the Branding and Town Seal Committee, please.
That could be very fast. The branding part means developing a logo that will be used many places that currently you see the town seal, like on the trash bags and trash barrels and on the uniforms of police and fire. And the only place the town seal will continue to be used is official business, like birth certificates and the kind of thing that comes out of the town clerk's office. So we've come up, the group that's in charge of this right now has come up with a proposed logo, and watch your inboxes for seeing this on Friday. It should come out and you get to, it's a survey, you get to choose which of two you like.
Nice.
And you can't say, I really like this, but it should be purple. So it's
Just pick.
One or the other. right?
one or the other. And then we will come back to working on the town seal, where the principles are taking the current one, to revise it, simplify it, correct the things that are mistakes, like there's a teepee there wasn't teepees in this part of the country. We wanted to reflect history, but not replace it. Look for a more accurate depiction of historical events and the way in which the indigenous people and the settlers were portrayed. There's two settlers looking like they were some kind of medieval garb, and one Native American who might have been Hoyt. So we want to convey the role of indigenous people in this area. They'll probably be one-to-one. And the chair of this committee is the chair of the select board, Kevin King. And we have Kate Fitzpatrick, our town manager, and we have people from, we have Gloria Price, who's the director of the Needham History Center and Museum and a member of the Historical Commission, and the current town clerk and the previous town clerk, and some graphic designers. I'm there as a representative of the Human Rights Committee, and we are very pleased to have Amber Autumn's son, Orlando, who is an indigenous person, Massachusetts tribe, Crane Indians of Natick, who are descendants of the people whose land we're living on that's now called Needham. So
Great, so
That's-
Friday,
Friday
we
for
get
the
to
logos.
choose,
Yeah,
not
it's called
speak.
branding.
just choose,
Just choose.
no talking,
Don't have to do anything. You
Just choose.
Just check.
everything we're saying.
The town's, that was a lot of months of work. The town seal will be presented to, I think, the select board and then the town meeting. I think that's the way that goes.
Thank you.
It's nice to be part of something that has a specific goal. But I love seeing the way the town people work. They're just awesome.
I'm gonna send you guys the recap from the June 11th meeting. I have that in my box, my email box. Do you have a date?
October 20th, 1 to 5 p.m. at the high school.
Is that the day before town meeting?
Oh my gosh.
Just out of curiosity.
That's probably right, Mary Ann.
Town
It's a
meeting's on
Sunday.
Sunday?
No,
I said,
Monday.
is that the day before?
Oh, the
Yeah.
day
Special
before.
Yeah.
town meeting is October 21st, but okay.
That's still okay.
And it's at the Needham High School.
That's right.
What time?
1 to 5 p.m. Mary Ann.
And I understand people from NDI are volunteering. to do
Yeah,
that.
so I mean, I was just looking at the, I mean,
How many do you want?
well, I love to get as much experienced help in a room as possible, and so we have 60, so 8 or 9 people outside of the HRC that want to have, you know, that have helped in the past and want to help again, some of them in this room, it's not right, yeah, so we have, we have people from NDI, NRN, the Rotary, Needham Muslim Neighbors, Needham Community Action Network, a couple citizens, and then we thought, Greg volunteered to co-chair with me on the event, which
Oh,
is good,
nice.
at least for the HRC, and I don't know if anybody else would like to be a part of it.
I thought you might want to ask.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
When are you guys gonna start the planning?
Yeah, immediately. Yeah, I mean, I've been gathering materials over the last 6 months, really just trying to hone in on the date and the location, because I thought those were the 2 most important things, and now that we have that, I'm ready to unleash the
Is
massive plan.
Rena's joining us?
Absolutely,
Great.
yes, yeah, I'm happy to read off the names, I might butcher a couple of them unfortunately, but lots of people who had their
Yeah,
hands
plan.
in it from last year and have offered to step forward again, and I'm, you know, like I said, from a lot of the groups. So, yeah, I've gathered all the materials, and now it's just a matter of seeing if anybody else in the HRC wanted to step forward and give us a hand, because we could use it, and then it will
I'd be
be,
happy to,
oh, excellent,
work.
that's great,
because I was on the committee last.
Mhm.
perfect, that's great.
I have a quick question. Who are the sponsors? Human Rights Committee and?
NDI and also I think the NRN. Let me see here, who else? So I think that's what we're still trying to
What
figure out.
about the Rotary? Because that,
Absolutely, yep, Bill Paulson from the
they-
Rotary,
they
yeah,
were
that's right,
instrumental.
exactly,
that
absolutely,
was such
yes.
a game changer. to
Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this I get, so once we have our first, subcommittee meeting or group meeting, then I'll have all the interested parties reach out to wherever money came from last time, and then maybe one step beyond that and see if we can't get a little bit more, because we went over the budget a little at the beginning of the discussion with Renaz and Zanat, and Bill gave me a lot of good information. So I have everything ready to go. Really, it's just a matter of plugging it all
And
in.
did you ever get the evaluations from last year?
Who has those?
We wanted to know where they
Oh,
were.
Be- well, Bella,
Folder.
Bella had, I think.
Bala.
Bala, yes, she's also
Does she
included
have
on
them?
this. So I have a gigantic Google Drive with everything that's been,
But I just think the evaluations would be helpful to
Yes,
know what happened, what to do this
I'm
year.
almost certain that I have them. If not, I can definitely get them.
Okay, 'cause I think that's.
Yes, definitely, yeah, and
She did a beautiful form and it. people-
Yeah, I
But
remember.
then the time was such that people
Right.
were too
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
we have a nice big list of people who participated last year, and I've gathered a couple additional lists from other multicultural festivals that have happened at the elementary schools over the last year, which has been great. I mean, so we figured, we'll put out a giant ask to as many people as possible, and then make sure that we have as much representation from different diverse communities as possible, which.
Yeah.
which we're
So
really
Would
looking
you
forward to.
contact the ones that were
Absolutely,
participated last year that.
definitely,
Great.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So can I give the date to the?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's,
Right.
we ran, I think we've already approved it, but yes, I think that's,
Oh,
Yeah.
so maybe you should have the, Amy put it, like a save the date. Put
Well,
that,
they may need to get a little more.
well, maybe.
yeah, I mean, I think you're probably right. So I know Bill was kind enough to already reserve the sign at Memorial Park, which is great. He thought of that right away, which was like, oh yeah, that's right, we should reserve the sign. But yeah, I think now that we have the date, the time and the location,
That's great.
you know, that's the first big thing. And we're also, I'm trying to remember the domain name that Bill gave me, but we have we're gonna put up a website
Oh,
and
okay.
try to continue it so we can kind of build off it year after year. I'm gonna,
Pictures.
yeah, collate all the stuff that I've
That's
gathered
great.
already, build some excitement around it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it should be a lot of fun.
Great.
So, yeah, I'm gonna be working, once I would do the first group meeting, and then I'll dig into the, doing just some kind of website, a small little presence, just so we can start including that on any kind of notifications that we want to start to send out to folks, so.
Okay,
Okay, you have a last agenda.
great. One more thing. I can no longer share this. So just so it's involved.
Yeah.
You guys have something to think about over the summer. I have been in touch with Katie King. She's trying to figure out a way with town council if I can serve on this committee at all in any sort of capacity. I am
Because you are,
now in the finance committee. So,
Congratulations.
thank you,
Oh.
I think. So I'm really trying
Yeah.
very, very hard to
Yes.
figure out how I'm gonna make this work, but there are bylaws and rules and regulations. I will hopefully know by Friday whether or not I can continue with you guys.
Do we
Wow.
need a pro tem or interim person? Because people were often wanting to contact the
Yeah.
Human Rights Committee.
yeah,
And can you do it for a certain number
I
of
will
weeks?
ask, because I'm not gonna really start until September.
Oh,
The last
So
meeting,
there's the
the
summer.
last FinCom meeting is June 26th, but I'm out of town, so we have a little bit of
Oh,
time
that's
to
good.
try to figure it out.
Because it would not be good, given all that we're
No, no,
involved with,
absolutely,
not to
yeah.
have some leadership.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So, just throwing it out there.
And it will give us a few months to
Yeah.
decompress.
But I'll be very sad if I have to leave you guys. Yeah.
You're trying to recruit.
This is good. Carrie, she hasn't shaken her head, which is good. She's-
I mean, it doesn't have to be one person, it can be 2 or 3 people, which probably
Yeah.
makes more sense.
2 people is good.
Right.
And one, you call one chair and one vice chair, but they really share it.
Or co, I mean, when we did it as co.
and we did it equally. I mean,
I
we
mean, we,
Yeah.
and we alternated running the meetings and, you know,
That's amazing.
so if somebody wants to do that.
So
Yeah.
we need 2 of that. 2 of that.
Maybe we'll talk,
do we
Carrie.
have a
Okay.
a full house?
That's easy.
Or, so
No.
that we're,
So
we
we
have
should
some
be
interviews,
recruiting.
we have two students that are interested that have applied, I believe.
Oh, great.
And
And one you know quite well.
One I know very well.
And
And I'm not, maybe 1 or 2, I can't remember what Miles sent me. But we have a few people that are interested in
well, how
joining.
many openings do we have?
The woman whose name we saw who never came.
Who
is
never
she-
came.
She's not,
That's open.
okay, because
Okay,
you
so-
said Nada Ali was interested in coming.
I
back.
didn't, I didn't.
You
mention
saw
that.
I did, I saw her
You
at
saw
the Ramadan
Not you,
celebration, and she said if there is an opening, we should
So
contact
she
her.
needs to fill out an application on the town website.
There was somebody too that came to me, I think, with,
Can you
she
contact her?
applied,
Yeah.
Johnny Shockett,
yes.
Yeah.
No, somebody else,
So did that other person officially resign, who never came?
never heard back. So I'm
So
assuming,
never was officially sworn in, right?
like, no, there was no communication.
Oh, she wasn't sworn in? Oh, I thought
I
she-
don't know anything.
Oh, you don't know. Isn't there some, because when I was
Oh, yeah.
in Arlington, if you missed so many meetings, you were off the committee.
I'm just assuming
She's
she's
not.
never been
yeah.
to a meeting, she
Yeah,
just
obviously not
hasn't
interested.
responded
So
to
we have
the
that rule here?
communication.
We do not, but certainly they wouldn't be reappointed and their appointment could be rescinded if somebody
made a
brought it up. But if she's never been sworn in, I know.
Well, she's,
She's never been here. We
She's
keep
never been
seeing her
we
now
should find out if she's been
for
sworn
about
in.
4
Can
months.
you find, that out
I can
for us?
find out.
What was her name?
Maya. Maya.
Yeah, I have her.
Yeah, Tina, there is,
I
so
thought you said you knew her.
I don't know her, no.
Oh, okay.
Shock it.
I think with Dia Daly, so different Joni.
I don't know.
Yeah, so she's a,
Oh, she's still on the email distribution.
Yeah,
Well, but
because she
that's
was supposed to go to the last meeting. She emailed me and said, I'll be at the last
a
meeting.
couple of meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had said that she had remote capabilities, but she wasn't able to attend in person. That was what I had heard, but.
Oh, never? Kind of person?
So,
That
That's not
doesn't
good.
sound.
We don't want,
Yeah,
no.
that's not a good.
I know my friend Joni was definitely interested, so maybe we
Okay,
can
yeah,
circle back to
So
her.
we only have one
I
opening
think just
for,
one and potentially two.
but Nana would be great.
Ananda was on the
She
committee.
was on the committee. She's Muslim. I mean, I think she would bring a lot. She helped us a lot when she was on the committee. She was really good.
So encourage her to apply.
Yeah,
please.
I'll contact
Cause I'm not comfortable doing it.
her physician.
Cause once I met her here, now she's my doctor. so-
That's gonna be weird.
I know, I'm not
Weird
gonna
for you?
go there. That's kind of.
Okay, so
Amazing how many people keep bumping into me. It's like you're telling me she's my doctor.
Yeah.
You're like the third person. Like, 2 weeks. She's telling me that she's
She's
my
great.
doctor.
She's also cutting back because both kids will be in school and because of half day Wednesdays, so
Mhm.
she's cutting back as a, practice.
I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
Jen,
Yes.
Amelia,
Yes.
Marlene.
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Keith,
yes.
Cynthia.
no, yes.
Meets you. Okay, have a good summer.
That's great.
And we'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
The work continues.
You want this anymore.
Did you